Welcome to the Biden-Harris era, Don. I think I could say that that movie would be called "The Star-Spangled Banner is Born."
That's how long you been thinking of that one? Is that all year? Is that all 2021 to come up with that one?
Yeah, I think
it was a good mood overall on that day. Obviously, some hope that and some sanity in a world of insanity. So that is great to see.
So lots to talk about today on Bourbon Street. If you haven't seen the inauguration, then wake the fuck up. We're going to show you a bunch of highlights from it, but we're going to talk about some sponsorship internationally, Canadian. We're going to talk about vaccines, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what this Biden-Harris regime means for Canada. But Don, I think we need to go back to you. You got us really going last week, and I've had a ton of feedback on this one. About vaccines and what's going on in Canada and about this clusterfuck known as our vaccine rollout. So let's get the IMI Weekly Pulse up here and let's talk about some numbers because you're the numbers guy.
Yeah, so we started work on this and we tried to get some context. I too have had a lot of conversations about what we posted last week and discussed. So we tried to get some context comparing Canada to California because people love to trash the US and they love to trash what they've done with COVID. But let's actually look at what Canada's done. Let's look at our priority because I'm Canadian focused, given the fact I'm locked down in Ontario. I can't move from Ontario and people are dying in Ontario. So you look at this, Canada, California, left-hand side, around the same number of people. Canada's been far more effective at prevention. That's nothing new. But I mean, number of cases yesterday, California, 25,000 versus 6,000. COVID case to date, 3.1 million in California versus 730,000. Again, up about 400%. Deaths yesterday, 740 versus 160. Neither number is good, but really the deaths is what we're looking at. That's why the vaccination is so important. Is like that's what we have to focus on. I mean, we have to stay socially distanced. We've been focusing on prevention for the last 9-10 months. We know what that drill is. Now we need to focus on vaccines. I think there's too much noise out there, too many people not focusing. So let's get some context on what's going on with vaccines in California versus Canada. So go to the next slide if you would, Eric. And this is a busy slide, but let's look at the right-hand side. Vaccinated to date, 740,000 in Canada, 1.6 million in California. They've done twice as good a job at trying to do that. Vaccinations per day, 42,000 versus 108,000. Like, that's a big difference. At the current rate, 80% will be vaccinated in Canada, March 2024. Simple division. In California, April 2022. So the point here is we're going to have these deaths for 2 years unless we focus on this one thing. If you look at the left-hand side, you'll see Canada, below the Canada's 79% of doses utilized already in people's arms. Right? In Ontario, it's 93%. There is no more supply. In California, they've only injected 37% of their doses or of the available vaccine. So they have huge upside to get better. We can't get better at actually administering because we have no supply. Do you have any comments on that or any words of wisdom from that, Mark?
Well, first of all, these numbers are genius. And I'm not just saying that since based on the surroundings I'm looking at on the video camera, you clearly are locked down today. Are you in Minx or where are you? But, it's interesting, right? I love your analogy, and California is a perfect proxy for Canada. Let's think about it in simple terms. And I'm sure you're going to take us through it. I'm curious, if we don't get 80% vaccinated by March 2024, I know 3 things are going to happen. A lot more people are going to die. Our economy is going to die. And Justin Trudeau and every other government should die. I mean, he's sitting there with a minority government that could fall. We're going to have economic, political, and unfortunately, real death. Those are my comments.
So the reality is prevention is for the people. Like, that's what we have to do. That's what the provincial government does. That's what the municipal government does. Supply is on the feds. Administration is on the provincial, supply is on the feds. There's one place to look. It's a Liberal government. It's the opposition parties not being awake enough. So this is not a blast at the Liberal. This is a blast at every federal politician. So let's flip to the next page. Maybe this will present a different way. So on the left-hand side, are 80% vaccinated by March 27th, 2024. We're keep being told the next over September 30th is going to happen. Well, just do simple math. We only inject 42,000 people a day right now. That's 909 days behind schedule. If 50 people died a day, which is far less than dying right now, but the average is, that's 45,000 Canadians that will die due to the fact we're not prioritizing vaccines. And
how many people a day are we injecting in Canada?
42,500
a day.
Yeah.
So think about Biden's pledge for 100 million people vaccinated in 100 days, right? So
yeah.
My simple math, that's a million a day. Use the simple math of, does the 10-to-1 rule still, I'm old, so does that still work for Canada?
It's 37 million. They got 330. We have 37 million, 38 million. They have 330 million. It's close enough.
So we should be doing 100,000 a day. And because right now we're doing 42 just to match their rate. But what do we need to do how many do we need to do a day to get to hit September 30th?
I believe it's. I'll get to that number. It's in a couple slides. It's 140 or 190,000, I believe it is. I'll get to that number. So the fact that if you look at the U.S. at a million a day, right? They have 300 million people get injected. That's 600 million injections. That's 600 days at a million a day. So they're looking at 2 years at a million a day. They got to be far more than a million a day to actually hit that number. So let's go to the next slide. Let's compare Israel, the best in the world. Not at cases. Look at the right-hand side. They have 10 million people, far fewer people than we do. But they have 10,000 cases yesterday. But they vaccinated 324% more. They only have 10 million people. They've already got 26% vaccinated. And vaccinations per day in Israel, a country of 10 million people, is 250,000. We're doing 42,000.
How in the world are they doing 250,000 people a day?
They're prioritizing. Obviously, they have very small geographic location, which is a big benefit, but they also have supply. They have supply. So if we look at that, remember, we have 4 times the population, but they're going to be done. They're already starting to call 40-year-olds to get vaccinated. That's what's this week's happening. So I'm a
couple weeks away, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the best. Let's go to the next slide.
Just before you do, back to your point on supply. The headlines this week: Pfizer's not shipping to Canada. They've stopped shipment to us for a week. And how do we even believe they're going to rekindle? Sorry, go ahead to the next slide. But I'm just ranting.
Yeah, so the point here is, so in order to get our September 20th, we need 194,000 injections a day. That's a 460% increase. So the question you asked before, let's call it 200,000 a day. Okay, so that's what we need to do. That's the focus. And every day that we do 42,000, that adds to that number. When Pfizer's not delivering, that'll double add to that number. So I'm going to update this every Friday just to make sure we understand exactly what our goal is to hit September 20th or September 2021, which isn't a great date if we know every single person. And congratulations to the Israeli population to be vaccinated by March of 2021. The final slide in this array of depressing data is, unless we focus on supply, unless we focus every piece of attention on getting us more vaccines, and when they get here administered, we're looking right now at March 27th, 2024. Shoot me now. It's just really.
And I go back to your point. Every politician of every stripe and color, every Canadian, every media outlet should be screaming, are we willing to let this incompetence cost us 45,000 more deaths? That's what you're saying. And, if you think about where the states went wrong and the amount of deaths and cases they have compared to their population, if they just had a strategy, there's probably some factor you'll come up with that tells me, the United States could have saved a couple hundred of the 500,000 people that are dying. We have an opportunity to save 45. Like, think about that. I grew up in a town, Aurelia, which I think is maybe 30,000 people. So you're going to wipe out my town and, take a good slough of Collingwood. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think the press and the media is allowing this conversation to just be deferred. Like Pfizer just delaying. Like, that's just part of the supply is not going to be constant, because if we remember back to my rant about a month and a half ago when Trudeau was on front page going, I dropped the ball on vaccinations. I'm like, that was your only fucking job. You didn't drop the ball in spending money, but you certainly dropped the ball on vaccination. So, but it's not just his fault. It's everyone in the Conservative Party, everyone in the NDP Party, everyone in the Green Party to push on this aspect.
The media is more concerned about Keystone being canceled than they are 45,000 deaths. So maybe we should. Amazing, thank you. Please bring this back next week. And I want to talk about. You talk about public pressure and media pressure on making change, and we're going to kick off the Sponsored X update this week with some commentary around what happened with the World Hockey Championships. But first, just to set your mind and level the playing field, I want to take you through a quick video. Have a look at Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, and Fasel, the president of IIHF, and tell me what you think.
My name is Nikita. I am an ice hockey amateur with over 10 years of experience and a huge fan of our national team. Every match for me is an event, and the World Championship is a true celebration. I have been part of several World Championships, including in 2014 in Minsk. I would love to experience all those emotions and an inexpressible atmosphere again. But being a Belarusian, I am asking myself, is this celebration appropriate in my country right now? For 3 months, Belarusians have expressed their wish to be heard. They are beaten and oppressed in return. The tear gas is sprayed in the faces of students and the elderly. Flash grenades are launched in the streets of peaceful cities. Do you think that these are attributes of hockey celebration? International hockey must not promote violence and lawlessness.
Господин президент.
Живой, здоровый. Здравствуй, дорогой. Ну, мы с тобой переболели всякими болезнями, можем здороваться как угодно.
This May's 2021 IIHF World Hockey Championship has been pulled out of Belarus. The IIHF says they had to make the move because of growing safety and security concerns due to political unrest as well as worries surrounding COVID-19. Latvia was originally supposed to co-host. They may host on their own now.
So how do you reconcile those pictures? Tear gas.
Well, it's
tanks with the hug.
It's pretty interesting that the brands, the sponsors have to step up and do what's right or force their hand. And I don't know what the political was before that, but it wasn't new. And you would hope that the organizing committees could just do this on their own out of good conscience, not have the major sponsors threaten to pull, which will be led by others. So what's my thought? We just got to be human. I mean, that's like it's from a global perspective. We just got to be smarter in what we do and actually stand for something, not money.
Well, let's start with some of the basics. Now, here's the thing. The irony is we've got a country over there where there's a group of people that believe that an election was stolen from them. It sounds familiar. So we're going to have to park that for a second. But, and by the way, clear difference in the way the protesters against that election were treated in Belarus versus the capital. I didn't see any of the police in Belarus posing for selfies with the protesters or waving them in. But to your point, it's really interesting to me that the sponsors have responded. And what I think is a problem, and we can spend a lot of time on issues in sport. The head of the International Sport Federation 11 days ago, in a very public situation, hugging and embracing, even if he legitimately won that election, I don't think that a leader that turns dogs and tear gas and police on his people should get a hug from the head of the IIHF.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's no different than any other organizing body. You have to wonder who wins the bids and how they win the bids and any fringe benefits you get from providing the bids. And I'll just leave it at that. I don't think it's without some questionable actions, because you don't need to go there when you know what's going on.
Agreed. So kudos to Skoda, Nivea, Lupo, which is a German oil company, which I probably just butchered their name, for standing up and, to your point, being human. So now, let's flip gears and talk about some athletes. You and I are a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I am loving the fact that, while we got spanked by the Browns in one of the most embarrassing losses, but Chase Claypool, Abbotsford, British Columbia, and I know you know some of this story, but this is a kid who grew up playing the Canadian version of U.S. football, Canadian rules, complete unknown. Claypool, one point in high school, scored 10 touchdowns in a game.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's double my career, maybe quintuple.
I'd say probably 10 times your career would be my guess.
Yeah, 10 times my real career. Had to post a highlight film on Facebook to get recruited to Notre Dame. But Claypool, star rookie receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, has just signed a deal with the Jordan brand. I think it's pretty exciting to see this kid go from Abbotsford to one of the hottest brands in the world.
I mean, again, the fact it just shows you can do anything you want. Like, the point is, talent, no matter where you are, talent will be found.
I think Claypool also represents that new era of athlete, right? Who's building their own persona, their own, kind of imagery, really becoming, immediately as a rookie, not just an athlete, but kind of a marketer, a brand unto himself.
100%.
So when you think about that, let's go to the master of sport and partnerships and LeBron James. Big announcement this week that LeBron James, I think it was with Coke for 17 years?
A long, 02 or something. Yeah, a long time. Couple decades.
And big announcement this week. He's now gone to Mountain Dew, to Pepsi. What are your thoughts? I know you've worked with Coke for a long time, so I don't want to get you in trouble. But, he's switching gears. He's switching drinks.
It shows money talks, and that's where obviously LeBron's probably got the strongest voice out there. We do a lot of celebrity work or looking at them globally, and the fact is he's probably got the strongest voice from all his other actions, but money obviously talks. I mean, I would wonder how many Sprites and or Mountain Dews he's ever consumed in his life or will in the next 10 years. I honestly don't think it's many, but he's going to appeal to a younger generation and the millennial generation. So he must have got paid a lot of dollars. That's all I can say.
Kind of like Tiger Woods driving a Buick.
Exactly the same thing as no one believed they bought no one believed he bought or drove a Buick, but that was for an older organization. This is celebrity really talks among youth, so I think it's a smart move, and it's going to be a loss for Coke, but Coke can pick that up, no problem.
So before we go into our last call segment, you and I are going to have some spontaneous discussion. Let's maybe go back and spend a couple of minutes looking at this week's inauguration. There's some amazing highlights in case you missed it. So grab a glass of water, sit back, and let's watch a few minutes of highlights.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
This land is your land.
The world is watching. So here's my message to those beyond our borders. America has been tested, and we've come out stronger for it.
To the New York Island,
I pledge allegiance
to
the flag of the United States of America, that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right. The reason, show the way of unity. We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge. And unity is the path forward. As I said earlier today, we have learned again that democracy is precious. And because of you, democracy has prevailed.
Good evening, America. I'm NASA astronaut Kate Rubins, along with the American members of our Expedition 64 crew aboard the International Space Station.
Let us shine the lights in the darkness along the sacred pool of reflection. Remember all whom we lost.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you?
Good evening. It is my honor to be here, to stand on the shoulders of those who came before, to speak tonight as your Vice President.
I'm pulling for your success. Your success is our country's success, and God bless you.
I'm glad you're there, and I wish you well. You have spoken for us today. Now you will lead for us, and we're ready to march with you. Good luck. God bless you.
Joe, I'm proud of you, and you and Kamala need to know that you've got all of us here rooting for your success.
It's an amazing week. And Don, I want to kind of set the tone for our conversation, or maybe not the tone, but the subject line. Love to get your thoughts on what you think the Biden-Harris administration is going to mean for entrepreneurs, sponsorship, event marketing, et cetera. And let's start with some real simple basics. First foreign phone call being made by President Biden today is to Prime Minister Trudeau. So what are your thoughts? What do you want Trudeau to say to Biden on that call? And maybe talk to me a little bit about how you think this Biden-Harris new regime is going to impact the work we do, the work our clients do.
I think sanity would be the first thing. And the fact is, you can see how excited they are. I mean, when you see Kamala Harris actually talk, you can see the emotion and excitement. So I think it's going to bring sanity. It's going to make sure that marginalized are actually supported. It's going to cost a lot of money regardless of who's in charge, but there's hope, and we're nothing without hope. Even though 4,000 people are dying a day in the US of COVID, the fact is there's still hope. There's hope. I mean, it was such a cluster on January 6th that I think it took the wave so far that at least you can see the sanity. Like Joe Biden sounds like, and they say he's a terrible debater and sane, or not sane. The guy sounds so comforting. He sounds like, that's what actually sane sounds like. So I would say the biggest thing is sanity, calm, hope would be the three things that I would see as the biggest thing that are going to be in front of us.
What do you want Trudeau to say to Biden today?
Help us out with Pfizer vaccines. You got a Michigan plant producing millions. There should be no other conversation. We want to work together, work arm in arm, but we don't want our people dying. If you can spare anything, push anything, if we can put manufacturing, it should be congratulations and then 80 seconds on how can you help us help ourselves.
So I've seen in the news that Trudeau's supposed to ask him for 1 million vaccines from that Michigan plant you talked about. But his official statement congratulating Biden on his inauguration talked about the long tenure of our partnership, the need to create great middle-class jobs, the need to tackle things like climate change together. That was his official statement. Now, I have a bunch of feelings around where there's some holes in that, but I'd like your thoughts on that.
I mean, it's politics. It's all bullshit. It's just like if it's published, it means the fact is they're trying to get political gain. And the point is,
but where's the entrepreneurship? Where's the investment? Where's
it? Never will be.
Where's never will. Where's fintech?
We don't want middle paint. We want 1,000 apples in Canada. We want to be the technology leaders so we can lead with high-paying jobs, high-quality growth jobs. You trash Amazon. If we had Amazon in Waterloo, we'd be loving Amazon.
I don't know where Justin's head is, because when's the last time you walked in?
I know.
Yeah,
it's the same place it's been for a long time.
It's the same place our vaccines are.
Right.
But if you could walk into Indigo right now, which I know you can't, I have never seen a bestseller called "How to Get a Middle Class Job." What self-help book is called "How to Get a Middle Class Job"?
We should aspire to be better. And the politics, the calls, it's a good news thing. But the fact is, we got to focus on survival. And I'm not talking about entrepreneurship. Vaccines are the only thing that will lead everything back, like entrepreneurship, growth, technology, all those things. We need to be vaccinated. I hate to rant on it, but I don't trust the Liberal government. Dropped the ball after 9 months and figured out they might need vaccines. I have no faith whatsoever, and that's why I call on everyone to push it. It's too far gone, and you know what? He'll get voted back in again because we're complacent individuals.
So we're going to move on because it is a good rant, but I'm going to ask you some more questions. In 30 seconds or less, your advice to properties and brands, properties first. What's the impact on the Biden-Harris administration on sponsorship marketing? What would you
In
say
30 seconds, the fact is they're going to do mass. They're going to focus on a distribution. I believe that their distribution and vaccination will happen quicker. The fact is we'll learn something from them. So I think we have a better chance of hitting September 2021 with them in power. So therefore, get ready, be ready, have your hybrid live plus virtual. It's good news because I think it gives us faith that in 2021 late or 2022, and I can't believe I'm saying it's that long away, there are going to be people, a lot of people. I mean, Super Bowl now is 22,000, so it's a good thing.
Do you think the Biden-Harris administration will positively or negatively affect marketing budgets? Yes or no?
It will positively affect it because they'll spend more money stimulating.
Do you think the Tokyo 2020 to be held in 2021 Olympics will happen? Yes or no?
Yes, I do, with no people.
All right. So, anything you want to close with before we go to an unbelievably powerful video that I beseech all of you to watch? And I will wrap us up unless you've got a final thought.
Well, the final thought is you saw in the inauguration, you'll see here hope. And the fact is what we need as Canadians is hope.
So we're going to share with you in a quick second a video of hope. On behalf of Don and I, thank you for watching Bourbon Street. I want you to watch this spot, beautifully shot. It's young girls around America watching the inauguration of the first female African-American, Indian-American vice president. That's all for Bourbon Street. Get ready for a little bit of hope.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
The duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.